You've started over so many times, you've lost count. New routine, new system, new version of you for about 11 days. Then something happens. One bad day, one missed session, and the next morning you wake up feeling like a fraud. So you push yourself back, recommit, white knuckle it, and it works for a while. But here's what nobody's telling you. That cycle you're living in, that's not a discipline problem. It's not a motivation problem. It's not even a habit problem. It's a loop. And it's running on autopilot underneath everything you do. Stay with me, because what breaks isn't what you think. Here's what most people believe. If I can just find the right system, the right schedule, the right app, the right routine, it's gonna finally click. And that sounds reasonable. I believed it too. So you try harder, you get stricter, you buy the planner, you watch more videos, you recommit on Monday. And sometimes it works for a week, or maybe for two. But then life happens. One disruption, one bad night, one moment you feel kind of off, and you're right back where you started. Now here's the lie underneath all of it. You think the problem is actually effort. You just need to want it more. You need to push harder, be more consistent. But here's what's actually happening. Every time you try to change what you do without changing who you are, you're fighting your own identity. And identity, it always wins. I'll show you exactly what this looks like in your life, but first I need you to understand what the loop actually is. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what the loop looks like from the inside. You get motivated, something fires you up, maybe it's a video, maybe it's a conversation, or maybe you had a hard moment and you feel it. Now this time you say, it's different. You build momentum. It feels real. You're becoming the person you always wanted to be. But then that motivation fades, because motivation always fades. It's a spark, not a fuel source. And when it fades, you fall back to your identity. You default to who you actually believe you are. And if that identity still says, I'm the kind of person who struggles with consistency, I'm the kind of person who is not disciplined, you'll just stop. Not consciously, but your behavior defaults to the belief. This is the loop. Motivation, behavior, identity, friction. Resistance, quit, shame, motivation again. Same starting line. Every single time. Here's what I call it. The identity floor. The unconscious baseline you keep snapping back to no matter how high you climb. You hit the floor. Every time you fall off, it's not because you're weak. You're hitting the floor. Now, you can't run your way out of that. You can't out-discipline a belief. That runs deeper than discipline goes. So here's the question. How do I actually change it? And the answer is not another system. I'll show you that in a minute, but first I need to show you the one thing that makes the whole framework work. I remember sitting in a conference room listening to other leaders describe the growth of their organizations. And I had done the math. And I'd been at this longer than some of them, and had much less to show for it. And I told myself the thing I'd been quietly telling myself for years: there must be something wrong with you. So, went home, I tried harder, more effort, more systems, more pressure, no results. So I pulled back. I mean, what's the point of working harder when it's not producing anything? A year later, same starting line. That's the loop I lived for years. But here's what I eventually understood. and it changed everything. I wasn't failing because a lack of effort. I was failing because I kept trying to fix the behavior without touching the belief underneath it. Now, the turning point wasn't a system, it was a question. Who am I becoming? Not what do I need to do, who do I need to be? So I started somewhere small, somewhere that had nothing to do with anyone else's growth, somewhere I was completely in control. My body, health. I built the identity that I was a person who takes care of themselves. Not someone trying to get healthy, but someone who is that person. The goal was not 5 days in the gym a week. I didn't start there. I started with 1 day. Just today. Can I show up today? That's it. One vote. Over time, 1 day became 2. 2 became the rhythm, and 3 became automatic. Now it's 5 days a week. Not because I forced it, but because the identity was already built 1 day at a time. Identity, listen, drives behavior, not the other way around. The person who shows up at 5 a.m. without negotiating, they're not more disciplined than you. They just don't see themselves as someone who skips. The choice is already made at the identity level. It doesn't cost them anything. The real shift happens when you stop asking, what do I need to do? And you start asking, who do I need to be? And when you do that, you're building a new identity floor. You're building a new baseline that your behavior will actually default to automatically. Here's how you build it. Let me give you 3 steps. Step 2 is where most people want to skip, but it's the one that separates people from those that actually change from the people who just feel inspired for a week. So don't skip it. I call this the loop break. Here's the 3 steps in order. Step 1, name the loop. You can't break what you won't see. Write down what your loop actually looks like. Not in vague terms, but in real terms. I get motivated for 2 weeks, then I have 1 bad day. I tell myself I'll restart Monday. Monday, I'm too tired, so I push it to next week. So that's the loop. Written out, it's obvious. But most people never name it. They just live it over and over and over. So name it, see it clearly. That's step 1. Now, here's where it gets different from everything else you've ever heard. Step 2, build a vote system. This is the step that changes identity, and it's not dramatic. Every choice you make is a vote for or against the person you're trying to become. You don't build a new identity through giant transformations. You build it 1 vote at a time. You wake up when you said that you'd wake up, that's a vote. You go to bed instead of scrolling, that's a vote. You keep 1 small commitment to yourself, that's a vote. You're not trying to win the whole election. You're just trying to shift the majority. Because identity doesn't update on declarations. It updates on evidence. Every vote changes what you believe about yourself. And over time, that raises the floor. Now, step 2 builds the evidence. Step 3, it locks it in. So, step 3, define who you are becoming. Before you act, before you start a new routine, name the person. Not what you want to do, who you want to be. I'm becoming someone who moves every day. I'm becoming someone who keeps their word to themselves. Present tense, already happening. Now, this sounds simple, but let me just say, it isn't. Most people set goals, but this is different. You're building a new self-concept. And every action either confirms or denies it. When identity and behavior finally align, that's the lock point. That's when the loop stops. So here's what I want you to do tonight. Not someday, tonight. One sheet of paper, 3 things. 1, your loop, written out in real terms. What does it actually look like? That's step 1. Step 2, 3 votes you can cast tomorrow. Small, specific, keepable. Step 3, 1 sentence. Who you're becoming. Present tense, not I want to be, but I am becoming fill in the blank. That's it. The version of you that does this tonight is already different from the one who skips it. This is where most people stop. They felt wonderful, close the video, and they don't do anything. What you do in the next 24 hours decides which version of you shows up next week, and next month, and a year from now. Your loop is not your identity. It's just a pattern. And patterns break, not through motivation, but through evidence, vote by vote, day by day, until the new floor is solid enough to hold you. Listen, you're not undisciplined, you just haven't changed the programming yet. And in this next video, called The Monday Lie, this will help you change the programming. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'll see you there.